We're going to do a star album, and I'm going to show you the base structure first, and then I'm going to teach you how to build it. But we're going to do a twist on this. We're actually going to use this album as a learning project. The Underground Railroad was a system that was used during the times of slavery to help slaves escape. So, I mean, that's putting it very short and brief. It's a pretty long story to talk about the Underground Railroad, which actually had nothing to do with a railroad in any way. But I want to help people talk about this with young people of all races. And one way is to build a mini album that brings out some of these key elements, maybe key people from the period of the Underground Railroad. Now, if you're lucky enough to live in Cincinnati or to live near Cincinnati, you can have the pleasure of going to the Freedom Center. And the Freedom Center has a wonderful museum dedicated to everything that has to do with freedom and the call of freedom. And it has a very, very clear focus on the Underground Railroad, how it started, who were the key players, and how the whole story basically ends up. And it talks about even modern day slavery. So the story isn't really over. So putting all that to the side for a minute, I'm going to show you what the Star album is, and then we'll get into the details. So the Star album is an album that when you open it, it opens up and it looks like a star. So this album is a great album for displaying on your coffee table or your desktop. And so the top of it is usually very beautiful, and so I suggest using a variety of papers and your favorite colors for this album. But then as you look at the sides of the album are actually your areas where you can display your photos. So as you build this album, you're going to put photography on the inside of it so that as you turn it or as you walk around this album, you get to see photos in every corner. If you cut your 12 by 12 cardstock into 4-inch strips, you're going to get 3 strips out of each piece of paper. So you'll end up with 9 strips of 4 inches when you cut down your 12 by 12 inch paper. But then you're going to shorten it progressively. So you're going to have 7 strips, so put the other 2 away, that are 4 by 12. You're going to have 7 strips that are 4 by 10, and you're going to have 7 strips that are 4 by 8. So all you're doing is making them progressively shorter. Now, I have chosen to use a mixture of print cardstock, which has some old kind of parchment text on it. I love it for this because of the importance of the documents that led up to the freedom of the slaves. Then I've got a nice simple neutral color, which is Sahara Sand, for my 4 by 10 inch strips, and I'm actually choosing to use vellum for my shortest strips. So this is going to look a little bit different than the structure model that I demonstrated to you. This is really easy to do. Now, I have taken the advance and covered 2 4 1/8 by 6 1/8 sheets of chipboard. I've covered them in canvas. It's just paper, canvas paper designed for printing, and so you can print photos on it. I've chosen to print a photo of the diagram showing just how densely packed the Africans were in the large ships that took them from Africa to North America. So now let's make the star book. So this is so easy. I'm just going to put these a little bit out of my way, but I'm going to have 3 piles. 1 pile of my longest, a middle pile of the middle, and a small pile of the shorter ones. Lay it down flat and face up. Okay? Then you're going to, on one end, you're just going to place adhesive and then glue down your middle sheet right on that end where you applied adhesive. Okay? Then take your shortest sheet apply adhesive to that piece you just added, and then adhere the shorted sheets to that. Then, not applying any glue, because you've got all three down, not applying any glue, pull up the bottom of the shortest one, aligning it with the top. Use your bone folder to crease. Then, pull up the bottom of the middle sheet. Apply glue to the back of the piece you just folded down, and glue that middle sheet to that top area, being careful to line it up, and then use your bone folder to fold it down. Then finally, you apply adhesive to that final edge. Bring the last piece up and over so it's connecting to that top piece. Then use your bone folder to fold that down. And what you'll end up with is this. You'll have your back sheet, your middle sheet, and your front sheet. But the back two sheets are attached on either end. Do that 7 times, and then we'll go back to finishing the album. Okay, so I've got my 7 pieces that we just put together, and basically I've just noticed that I have one variation on my paper. I have a light one with the dark ones, and I'm just planning to put that one in the middle. But that's just me wanting to have a little variety. Now I'm going to stick these together. I'm going to use tacky tape. I'm applying to the 2 end edges. And then the bottom edge. And then the top edge. Okay, so if you're using sticky tape, if you have all 4 edges with this tacky tape, then you can easily attach them, and you'll just lay that down, attach this one, lay that down, attach this one, lay that down, attach this one, and so on until they're all attached and there's 2 outsides not attached. So let me do that, and then I'll come right back to show you how we're going to go ahead and put our heritage image into the album. So I just took the tape off, and then I'm just going to line this up so it's right on top of the one underneath it. And I'm going to keep going. So I'll be back right after I do that. Okay, so I've got all of them stuck together so that this is now one big piece. I've also added the tape for the cover, which I'm not going to put on yet.